Hey YouTube, Sam here. Well, I'm in the midst of doing something else on my 01 or 02 Buick Rendezvous. I'm dealing with a pulley issue, I think, in schooling belts, but right now, as I was taking the tire off, I always kind of rotate the tires back and forth and just kind of see if the bearings and things are good in them. But when I went to do this one, I noticed it was moving quite a bit. And I have noticed that something is broke in this ball joint here, I believe, because it's moving quite a bit, and the bolt down here is not. So I believe this tie rod in here is probably shot. I tried greasing it up, as you might be able to see, and it actually blew the grease out of the top of the thing here. I guess overdid it, or this ball joint just has been going bad and is weak. But regardless, we need to replace that. Alright, and I got a deep well 11/16 half-inch socket on here right now, and that seems to have at least started turning. I can't tell if it's turning. Yeah, it looks like it is coming loose, so we'll see. I don't know exactly what broke in this, because I kind of assumed this was going to actually turn. I thought it was maybe disjointed between here because I couldn't see it moving, but something's not right, so we're going to go ahead and move this out of the way for now and see where we need to go from there. With a little pry bar pushing up and a little hammer smacking on the side here, going ahead and giving her a little bit of a whack on the bottom of the bolt, but I always leave the bolt in. It actually popped up, so I don't know why this is moving intermittently of this. Yeah, this ball joint is just shot, I believe. It appears, unfortunately. Well, I can't remember. I don't know exactly what was going on last time I was doing this video, because I waited for parts. And then I got the parts and looked at them, and they really don't look the same at all, or even close to it. It seems a lot smaller, same size width-wise, but a lot smaller than that one, including this part right here, which I then went to the part store and looked at the one they had, and looks about the same as this one. So I'm going to try to pull this out first of all. And I don't know if you can see that, but that's a big hunking thing. Let's see where we at right there. Compared to that one right there, we are a long ways different. One thing I gotta say about this one, it did not have a castle nut. It's just a regular nut on here. So maybe that's why there's extra threads and it's extra big, but I just don't know. So I'm gonna take this, and we're gonna put her on in there and see. You know what? I would say push down. It probably fits in there, but boy does it look so much different than that one right there. Much beefier, this one, the original or the old one. I don't even know if this is an original or replacement. The one on the other side looks different than it, but it doesn't have a Zerk fitting. So I don't know if this is a replacement that had a Zerk fitting or the other side. I just honestly don't know. But it does seem to actually fit down in there snugly. There's not a bunch of play or anything. So, and I can get plenty of threads on it. So I'm going to go ahead and use it. It's one of those things you just never know until you try it sometimes. The parts can look completely different these days. And it's probably because it's cheaper and not as well made. First of all, I tried using kind of a wrench on it to hold it, and I finally just put it right back in the hole to hold it. And the reason I'm doing this is off camera is because I could not get it, and I finally PB blasted it and messed around in different places with the wrench, and I found that actually going straight up like this, reaching my arm around here, grabbing a hold of this and just pulling back using them, using this as just kind of a brace to, you know, hold my arm against and pull, it finally broke loose just out of sheer force, but it wasn't easy. Anyway, now that I have that, you know, it was in this area right here, so I'm just going to move it just the slightest bit. I'm going to have to get this to spin off without hopefully moving that nut too much. Then the new one will go back on there. I kind of took measurements. I'm going to do it again with it off when I can get better measurements and make sure that it is the same length. And who knows, I may end up having to get a front end alignment. We'll have to see. But for right now, that's my plan. Not moving that nut any more than necessary and trying to get this to come off. So I'm going to take some time, and once I figure out how to get this to come off without everything moving, that's the problem, is I got everything kind of moving right now. I'll come back when I figure that out. Is a spot for a small, fairly small wrench. I don't know what size, so I just took my big monkey wrench there that I have and threw it on there. And then on mine, which obviously there's different ones, I found a 15 millimeter was kind of the biggest. It's still loose, but it was the biggest one I could get and still get some oomph on it, and it's turning just fine now. And I didn't need to move that bolt, so fingers crossed we'll be able to get that off without moving things around. I still haven't bumped this too much of any that I noticed anyway, so we'll keep on moving. That's pretty rusty, but it came off alright. I'm debating on if I want to put Loctite or anti-seize on this thing. With that jam nut on there, which, like I said, the new one did not come with, but in the picture it showed online that it should, but it didn't come with this one. But we're gonna put these together and kind of, I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it, and it really does look like they're pretty close to the same when it comes down to measurements. From the center of this to the outer part of this, it does look like we're pretty darn close. So I'm going to use the jam nut on there, and once you lock this down, put the jam nut on, this can't really turn off once it's hooked to where it needs to go. So I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize on here in case I have a problem with this some other day. You can choose to do what you want. Okay, that's all the way up. I'm going to back it down. I believe it was similar in that area right there. And I'm going to drop that wrench. What are we hitting on here? Okay, that went back. Alright, well, I'm going to go with that. We'll put the tire on, maybe throw a tape measure in front and back and see where we're at there. Once again, go get an alignment would be the best scenario in this case. Alright, then we got the castle nut, and we're going to put that on down there. Snug this up, and never ever reuse a cotter pin. They are cheap and they keep this from popping out, which would be a very bad thing. I put the Zerk fitting in. That's an 8mm on mine anyway. Alright, hopefully you can see this. I got this all kind of where I think I need it to be. So now I'm going to take my 15mm here. Seems to fit on there all right. And on my jam nuts it's 7/8 here. And I'm going to hold this where it is. And give it a good tighten. And it will be where it be. Now it looks like it did come with a little bit of lube inside there, but I can kind of feel this squeezing out, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more grease in there. You can choose to do what you want to do on that one as well, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Throw the tire back on, hope for the best, and if I have any problems I will go get a front end alignment. Well, there you go. For all intents and purposes, that's how you change the outer tie rod end on an 02 Buick Rendezvous. Now I'm just gonna say it, go get an alignment after you've done this. You still don't want to let everything just go completely out of whack. You want to keep it as close as you can, even just to drive it to the alignment shop. But you know, to each their own. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it. If it looks like it's out of whack, we're going to have to go get an alignment, unfortunately. But hopefully I have it pretty close, and I'm not going to worry about it with this car. So you choose to do what you want to do, and the right way to do it after this will be to go get an alignment. Obviously, I am no expert at anything I do, as I just showed you, so I'm going to end this one. This is Sam, Jack of all, and obviously Master of none. You all have a good one.